Have you ever walked into a trendy, freshly remodeled bathroom and thought, yeah, it looks nice, but how hard is this going to be to clean every week? That's why I'm bringing you 5 bathroom features that you definitely want to avoid if you hate cleaning, because let's face it, nobody really likes having to clean their bathroom every week. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to share with you my own personal biggest cleaning nightmare that I've had in any of my bathrooms. You're not going to want to miss that. We're going to get started in the shower. And a lot of people have bathrooms that have a shower that don't necessarily have a shower curtain like me, but they have those very traditional sliding glass shower doors. And in particular, I'm talking about the ones that have those frames, the very thick frames, and there's 2 doors and they completely slide on either side. And these can look really nice when they're brand new, but there does happen to be a problem with those as you live with them for a while. The issue is those glass doors actually live inside a metal track. And that track just becomes a trap for things like soap scum and mildew and mold, and they become a complete nightmare to clean. You have to get a toothbrush or you have to use bleach. And I'm honestly don't even know how some of these people clean those tracks, because I know when we first moved into this house, in our primary bathroom, we had sliding glass shower doors that were probably from the 1980s, or maybe even they were original to the home. And those shower doors had so much crud in there and hard water deposits and corrosion and old mildew and dirt that you literally could barely open the shower door. They no longer slid. It only opened about halfway, and so it became pretty obvious when we moved into the house that the previous owners didn't even use that bathroom. They used this bathroom because it didn't have those gnarly old shower doors. That was one of the first things we did when we moved in. We just took out those shower doors and threw them away. And we put up a shower curtain because we didn't have money left to completely rip out all our bathrooms and showers. So what should you do instead? Because let's face it, having a shower curtain is not very luxurious like we do here. We just have this as a temporary because we are gonna remodel our bathrooms and hit subscribe so you don't miss that. But a lot of us want to have shower doors, right? Like glass shower doors. That's the modern, that's the more luxurious option. So what do you do? So you can get a frameless glass shower door, and so that's not going to have those frames that you have to figure out how to clean. Or you can get shower doors that really attach to the sides here, and there's nothing on the bottom, and that way it's going to be much easier to clean. Now, getting those frameless glass shower doors might be a little bit more expensive than going with a traditional, very cheap framed shower door, but it's going to be much easier to maintain and much easier to clean every week when you have to do your bathroom cleaning. Oh, and if you're new around here, my name's Carrie. I'm a self-taught designer as well as founder of the blog Penny Modern, and I've been remodeling kitchens and bathrooms for over a decade. Now this next one, I can't even believe that I'm putting this in this video in this day and age, but it's really more common than you think. And this is going to be a type of flooring that can be found in a lot of different bathrooms, especially primary bathrooms from the 1970s, 1980s, even the 1990s. And that is going to be a carpeted flooring in the bathroom. Now, again, I have a personal story to share about this with my brother-in-law. So he recently moved into a very large, nice luxury home in a very nice newer neighborhood here in San Diego. And when they showed me their home, I was completely shocked by what I found in their primary bathroom. This was a huge bathroom, and it was extremely spacious, and it had a walk-in closet, it had a freestanding bathtub. But the other thing it had was carpet in most of that bathroom. And I was literally beside myself that they had carpet in their bathroom in this huge luxury, over 2,000 square foot home. And one of the things I noticed when I walked into that primary bathroom area was that it kind of smelled like mold and mildew. And I said to them, that smell is because of your carpet here. And they weren't really sure what I was talking about. It was just a rental for them and they liked everything else about the house. But that is one of those huge things that you need to be aware of when you have carpet in your bathroom. It really is gonna be hard to keep clean because you have this damp area and you have a lot of steam and you have just a lot of wetness. And then you have two people using it, maybe taking 2 showers a day. Is that flooring ever gonna dry out if you have carpet? No. So I would just make sure you do not put in carpet, even in the primary bathroom, put in some kind of hard flooring in that bathroom to make sure that you can clean it and keep it dry and get rid of all that mold and mildew, because that is going to be a major issue. All right, this next one might make you look at your shower walls a little bit differently, and it might make you regret how you swooned over some of these tile mosaics that you saw on a showroom floor. So most people, when they're designing their shower, they have a variety of different tiles that they have in mind. They might just have one, maybe it's a subway tile or maybe it's a large format tile, but a lot of us like to have a variety of different tiles in the shower, just like we do here. And a lot of those can be a larger tile mixed with a tile mosaic. A lot of people will put an accent of a different tile mosaic that complements the other tile in their shower. But here is the problem with these smaller tiles. Really, the more small tiles you have, the more grout lines you have, and the more grout lines you have, the more that soap scum and mildew and mold can hide in those grout lines. And I hear from people all the time how they regret choosing a very small mosaic tile in their showers. One homeowner on Reddit really described it perfectly. They said that the penny tile that they had chosen to put on their shower floor, because you are supposed to pick something that's a smaller tile to help grip your feet, because you don't want a big tile because you'll slip and fall in the shower and nobody wants that. But they had picked a penny tile and they said it looked great for about 2 weeks. And then the grout started turning pink. And then it turned brownish yellow, and then it turned black. They said they spent more time actually cleaning their shower than they actually did using it, which is tragic in my opinion. So a lot of people, at least on the shower walls, a lot of designers are moving towards those larger format tiles. So like a 12 by 24 tile, or maybe it's a 1 foot by 1 foot square tile, or even just a larger subway tile. And they're moving towards that in terms of the shower walls. And that's because it reduces how many grout lines you have, which is going to reduce those nooks and crannies that all that soap scum and mildew can hide. And another hack that you can do is choose an epoxy grout instead of a traditional grout, and that's going to help make it a little bit easier to clean. And in terms of what should you put on your shower floor, maybe just a subway tile, not a penny tile. That would be sufficient in terms of giving your foot something to grip onto. Or you can use a shower pan. They have these manufactured shower pans that you can use that have a grippy surface built into it. So that's another option too, that's gonna be much, much easier to clean. Oh, and if you are trying to remodel your bathroom and you're playing around with what kind of flooring or what kind of design style you want to do, I've got a great free resource for you. It is my AI bathroom design tool, Bathroom Design Magic. And that is going to be something where you upload a picture of your bathroom and it will redesign it for you in a bunch of different design styles. It also will change your color palette up, and you can try different styles and different colors. And it also can even give you product recommendations. So try that for free today. It's at bathroomdesignmagic.com. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about one of the most popular luxury bathroom upgrades that has been very popular in luxury homes for the past 30 years. And I'm talking about a luxury jetted spa tub. And I think this is one of the worst decisions you can possibly make if you are worried about cleanliness and maintenance for your home. A lot of homes in the 1990s and the 2000s, they were built with these luxury jetted spa tubs built in as an added air of luxury, and it made you feel like you were in a hotel or like you had a hot tub in your bathroom. And here is something that people don't really realize until they have lived with one of these jetted tubs after a while. And that's because there's these pipes that run inside the tub. And those pipes actually get water that sits in them. And that water can get gnarly and gross after a while, and it can collect mildew and mold in it. because you have this wet environment. It just becomes a breeding ground for mold, bacteria, and other bad stuff. And this isn't just a cleaning inconvenience, it's actually a documented health risk. A scientist from Texas A&M University actually tested 43 samples from different spa jetted tubs, and she found that all of them actually tested positive for microbial growth. And this microbial growth was pretty disgusting. Some of them were also from fungi, and some of them even contained the deadly staph bacteria. And here is something else that I learned while doing research for this video. A teaspoon of normal tap water contains about 138 bacteria. No big deal, right? A teaspoon of Whirlpool tub bacteria contains over 2 million bacteria. And when you turn those jets on, all that bacteria in that water gets put into your bathtub that you're soaking in. I went to Reddit again to see what homeowners thought, and one homeowner reported they had bought a house with one of these jetted tubs and they decided to do some deep cleaning on it. And so they used a cleaning product, and then they stood there as they watched the jets go on to clean them out, and they saw green and yellow chunks of stuff coming out through those jets. And here's what they said. I just stood there staring at it, and the weird part is the tub itself looked perfectly fine. If I hadn't done this, I would have had no idea that all that stuff was lurking in the pipes. And if you do have one of these jetted tubs, just remember you do need to make sure you maintain it, and you do that monthly cleaning cycle, maybe even weekly, depending on how much usage you get. But honestly, if you're doing a renovation and you're considering getting one of those jetted tubs, I would seriously reconsider, because that seems like a lot of effort to put in, all this special cleaning and these cleaning processes just to have a jetted tub. You might just want to get a regular soaking tub that's going to be a more traditional and much easier to clean. I'm curious to hear from you guys. Does anybody have experience with one of those jetted tubs, and maybe they cleaned it and some stuff came out that they weren't expecting, or maybe it was perfectly fine and you have no idea what I'm talking about? Let us know down in the comments below. And now I'm gonna get to that personal horror story that was my own cleaning nightmare. But first, if you are planning a bathroom remodel and you want a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, I have got a great product for you. It is my bathroom remodel workshop, and it includes a planner that's gonna help you plan out your entire project. It also has a series of videos that's gonna take you step by step through my own simple process that I use on every bathroom renovation. You can check that out. It's in my Penny Modern shop. I'm gonna link to that right here and link to it down below, and let's get back to the video. Now I'm gonna share with you that cleaning nightmare that I created myself with one of the design choices. Now, this was for a bathroom in our vacation home, which was out near Palm Springs. And we actually rented this out as an Airbnb. And I did all the design myself, and I had a ton of fun decorating it. And I got to the bathrooms and I thought, okay, we don't have the money to completely rip everything out, so we've got to work with what we have. And one of the issues in that bathroom was actually around the tile. It had a very old, very gross, very brown tile all over the bathroom floors, and it just was not at the level it needed to be to have it be a great Airbnb. So I decided to cover that up and just put luxury vinyl tile right over the existing ceramic tile, because I had done that in the past. And I wanted to do something light, bright, airy, something that would go with any decor, because I wanted to add a lot of color in the bathroom through decorations. And that way it would really pop in those pictures, because on Airbnb, it's all about the pictures. And so I picked a very light, very white flooring that had very light marble veining in it. I had my guy install that, and after a couple weeks, it ended up becoming a complete nightmare. Now, let me tell you why. When you have an Airbnb, people expect it to be clean, and people get really grossed out by things like hair. Now, when you are in your own home and you see a hair, you don't get that freaked out. But when you're in an Airbnb, you know it's someone else's hair. And so that is one of the most important things, is trying to get all traces of hairs out of the bathroom, out of the bed, out of the sheets. And so that is where it became an absolute nightmare, that the cleaners literally would clean the bathroom and then somebody would check in and complain about hair getting on the floor. Now, they had just mopped the entire floor, but it was because of my design choice. I picked a white flooring that was basically almost all white with just a little bit of veining on it. So it did not hide any of the hairs. And that is where it became just a maintenance and cleaning nightmare. And that is why I do not recommend getting a very bright white or very light flooring. I almost bought a very light beige flooring, a stone look tile for our other bathroom here when we moved in. And when I actually got it from Floor and Decor, I noticed that it literally looked almost white, and I knew I would have the same problem, and I sent that stuff back, and now I have a nice charcoal flooring that has some variation in it, and it hides all kinds of things very easily. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. If you don't want to go crazy from having to clean every day, then you're definitely going to want to pick a flooring that has some variation in it. It has some stone look, it has some veining in it, or it has some kind of pattern in it, and that is going to be the best flooring that you can get for your bathroom if you do not want to go insane with cleaning every day. Now that you know what not to do in terms of making choices that are going to be easier to clean and maintain for your bathroom, don't you want to know things like what type of vanity to get or what color tile to get? And I am going to give you my dream bathroom playbook recommendation next, and that is a series I've created that does a deep dive on everything from vanity to fixtures to tiles and bathroom upgrades. So you've got to watch that next, and I'll see you in that next video.